We are back with part 2 of our rebuild of Crystal Palace, a team that got relegated, in fact, twice in this simulation. Before we took over, we have brought them back to the Premier League. We're on Season 4, so let's see how things go. Last season, if you did not watch it, we finished down in 11th place in the Premier League, which doesn't look too bad. But then you think about it, the season before we actually finished 9th place. Season 1, we got promoted from the Championship. Season 2, 9th in the Premier League. Season 3 was in 11th. So we're a mid-table side at the moment, which means in this episode and over these 3 seasons, we need to start pushing for Europe. And already on the 1st of July, we have started to build some better players into our team. We have signed Fabian Dingeland, who is a Norwegian attacking midfielder and left and right winger signed from PSG on a free transfer. He's very good for a free transfer, but I don't think he's going to get much game time. Another player who's joined on a free transfer, and another player who I don't think is going to play a huge amount, is Richard George, signed from Chelsea on a free transfer, formerly of a whole bunch of teams on various loan deals, I believe. Although, did we get him from Burnley on a free transfer? No, it was Chelsea. He just kind of never played for them since 2026, and we brought him in 2031. And finally, joining us so far on the 1st of July, it's Daniel Bello, a 23-year-old Nigerian international with 22 caps and 14 goals to his name. He's been brought in for numerous reasons. First of all, he was signed on a free transfer from Arsenal after he got his contract terminated or ended or whatever. It just ran out and they released him. He is also a model citizen, which means he's got a very good personality, but also he's actually a pretty good striker. He's not going to be playing week in, week out. He is going to be the third choice striker behind our 2 main ones. And if you weren't aware, our 2 main strikers are Ross Smith, who's 22 years of age now. He's not very good when it comes to finishing, but everything else he's actually really good at. And Jamie Horgan, who is now 22 as well, and he is very good at finishing. I think he's the better of the 2 strikers, but now we've got Bello as well, who can be number 3. Sorry, Sam Greenwood, you are slowly getting demoted out of the squad. We did also have some players leaving the club. Leslie Okechukwu is one of them. He has moved on to Bristol City. Obviously, we signed him in Season 1 for, I don't even know, was it a lot of money? It was a lot of money. He just wasn't playing anymore, was he? Emmanuel van der Black, also signed in the first season, has moved on, signing for West Brom for about £150,000. It's not a lot of money. 24-year-old Daniel Payne has also left the club on a free transfer. I had high hopes for Daniel Payne, but basically, he wasn't better than the 2 striker options we had, so he's eventually just ran his contract down. Muric has also left the club, leaving at the end of his contract, signing for Leicester on a free transfer. And a 19-year-old called Harry Lilly has also left, signing for Blackburn. He's probably got loads of potential and he's amazing. We have also brought in 18-year-old Norwegian central defender Kent Henrik Stuyvesant, maybe, signed from Rosenborg, gone back out on loan to Rosenborg. He's come in for £700,000. I'm hoping he's going to get better in the future. Obviously, right now, we're not going to play him, so let's loan him out. Somebody we will be playing, though, is Diego, a 23-year-old Brazilian centre-back and defensive midfielder. I've brought him in to be a defensive midfielder. However, naturally, he is much more of a centre-back. He has come in for a fair amount of money, £15 million, potentially going up to £17.75 million. But I think we've got ourselves a very good young footballer. And if things work out well, he's either going to stay with us until the end of this 10-season save, or we sell him on for a massive, massive profit. Speaking of selling players on for a massive profit, Luka Vabancic has left the club, signing for Sunderland. It's technically a big profit, isn't it? £7.25 million, potentially going up to £9 million. We never really played him in the second. In the second Premier League season. That's what I was trying to say. We didn't really play him at all, did we? So I took the money, and it's a decent bit of money as well. We've also sold this man to Wigan for some cash. Tristan Awesome, the German left-back, has gone out on loan to Luton until the end of the season. Hopefully he's going to get himself some game time. Mika Hamilton's gone on loan to Swansea because we were never going to play him. Bruno Contreras has gone on loan to Stoke because, once again, we were never going to play him. Robert Golub has gone out on loan to Leeds to hopefully get himself some first-team football. He was not going to be our number 1 or number 2 goalkeeper this season, so loaning him out seemed like the best bit of business. Roman Egan Riley has also left the club on a loan deal going to Leyton Orient. Hopefully this one becomes a permanent deal. And as we mentioned, Stuyvesant, or whatever his name is, has gone back on loan to Rosenborg. So we have done a fair amount of business. Some of it technically was last season, so the Diego and the Rosenborg defender, I'm not going to try and say his name again, was last season, but Bello, George and Dingeland have also come in so far this season. My expectations for Season 4 is we want to be finishing in the top half, don't we? That's where we want to be finishing. I mean, arguably, where we are, I'd love to finish there. That will be amazing. We've also got the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. If we can just do all right in either of those, I will take that as a positive. We're now going to jump forward to the end of the summer transfer window to see what extra business we have done. Financially, we do have £31 million to spend. I'm probably going to spend it. In fact, we bumped that transfer budget up a little bit more. Sepp van der Berg left the club during the summer, signing for FC Utrecht in his native Holland or Netherlands or whatever you want to call them for £4.5 million. And for £36.5 million, Miles Lewis Skelly has moved over to West Ham, which is very good considering I wasn't going to play him. I feel like, he played 4 starts and 34 off the bench last season. This season, he's played 3 all off the bench. So to get 28 up front, potentially going to 36.5, that's good. He is English, which is kind of annoying. We've lost an English player, but it's fine. We have reinvested that money, obviously, in a free transfer goalkeeper in the shape of Igor Monatas, who is a Paraguayan goalkeeper signed from Juve, formerly of Barcelona. He's had a career. He's definitely fallen down going to Palace, but he's playing for Barcelona, moves to Juve, eventually leaving Juve, signing for us. He's come in as a backup. For £3 million, Luciano Lopez is a 21-year-old Uruguayan fullback, signed from Peñarol, who is, I'm going to say one for the future, but will probably get a bit of game time here or there. For just under £8 million, Juan Manuel Avia, who is a 21-year-old Argentine central midfielder, has signed from Racing Club in Argentina, and I think we've got ourselves a very good player. Plus, he's still young. Yes, we've spent a reasonable amount of money, just under £8 million, but I'm hoping that was money well spent because he looks really good, right? Is that just me thinking he looks good? Mentally, the numbers are in a good place. Physically, they're pretty good. Technically, I think is kind of what lets him down, but arguably does it. He's got 14 technique, 14 passing, 17 first touch. He's got the kind of the core ones down. He's just not very good at penalty taking and tackling and free kicks. We don't need him to do that. And finally, for £12.5 million, we have had to pay the English tax for James Hayes, signed from, I'm going to say Sunderland, and I think he was on loan at Rotherham. It was. He's come in for £12.5 million. He is certainly one for the future, but he is English, and that is one of the reasons why I wanted to bring him in, because I think he's good. My scouts think he's good. My coaches think he's good. So we're just going to have to sit and wait on James Hayes to see if he does get much better than what we think he's going to be. But that is all of the transfer business that we have done. We're on the 2nd of September. If we have a look, there has been a lot of loan deals as well. Pascanu to Brianza for £1.1 million on loan. Ashley Phillips to Coventry in the Premier League for £1.1 million. Jamid has gone to Sheffield United. Wamba going to Forest. Leo Shahar to Ipswich. Keanu Dyer to Bristol Rovers. George Effiong to Bristol City. So they're maybe they're house sharing and just have arguments every now and then. Dan Shepherd going to Nottingham Forest. This is a player that I want to play, but he doesn't get into our team at the moment. Shepherd going out on loan, like I said. Cecchini, Sassini, not quite sure, going to Portsmouth. James Musa going to Rivers United in Zimbabwe. A whole bunch of players. I'm not going to list all of them because some of them you can read. You've got eyes. You're watching a YouTube video. From a competition perspective, it's not started well in the Carabao Cup. We've been knocked out in the second round by Aston Villa on penalties. But we are in 9th place in the Premier League. Yes, we have lost one of our opening 4 games, a 2-0 defeat against Wolves. We've drawn twice against Coventry and Aston Villa, and we have beaten Chelsea 3-1, who are currently down in 15th place. We've started okay. Like I said earlier, I'm expecting this to be a season where I'm hoping we finish top half, pushing for Europe. If we can get into the top 7 and actually get a European spot, that would be amazing. From a starting lineup perspective, we are locking in 3 players into the squad. And you might be wondering why Moller is playing as a left back. We'll come to him in a second. We're going to play Ruel Walters as our right back, locking him in. He is technically our best right back, but sometimes they don't want to play in there. We've got Nedeljkovic, who is also very good. I'd rather play Walters over Nedeljkovic, so that's why we're locking him in. Let's look at Diego. We've seen him already, but Diego will be that defensive midfielder. He's already been training there, so he's got better already. And then Moller is going to be our left back. Yep, he's right-footed. He's a defensive midfielder. We're playing him as a left back. The reason, I genuinely can't really tell you why there's a reason for this, but I'm playing him as a left back because I want him to get game time, and he doesn't fit in as centre back or defensive midfield because we're playing Diego. We've got Umar, we've got George, we've got Vieira and Pipanic, who are all actually pretty decent centre backs, and I feel like we need to get this guy game time. I might change my mind. That might have been a terrible decision to do this, but yeah, he's a left back. We did have lots of interest in him in the summer, by the way. It's not just me being like a lunatic, just playing as defensive midfielder and left back. Lots of clubs wanted him, which said to me, he's got potential. So we're going to try and unlock some of that potential. Right, let's jump forward then to the end of the season, see how well we've got on, see how well my experiment of playing Moller as a left back has worked out, and see, hopefully, if we've managed to qualify for Europe. So obviously we know we were knocked out of the Carabao Cup early on. In the FA Cup, we were knocked out early on again in the 3rd round, this time against Sheffield United. We don't care for cup competitions, which is fine because we do care about the league. A league where we have finished 5th place and qualified for the Champions League. We've qualified for the Champions League. We are one of 6 English teams in the Champions League group stage next season, which is just ridiculous because I'm assuming Liverpool won the Champions League. I'm assuming that's what that means. Can we find out? I mean, we can go schedule, can't we? They won the Europa League. Okay, so Liverpool won the Europa League. Man City won the Champions League, which means that we qualify for the Champions League due to the strange coefficient thing where the first and second best performing nations in Europe get an extra Champions League spot, and we were lucky enough to fall into that. Anyway, right, now we know what's happened. Let's take a look at Sebastian Moller, shall we? He is now a fully qualified left-back. He's got a certificate and everything. He is a left-back. He's done okay, to be honest. A 6.82 in the league. 1 goal, 6 assists. I'd argue I'd like a few more assists, but he's done all right. Diego playing as that defensive midfielder, also doing not too bad. 6.79 in the league. 5 assists, and 3 goals to his name, but that's not what he's there for. I think he's just doing the job that we need him to do. He has got 12 yellow cards, which is arguably kind of expected, right? And in the right-back position, Roel Walters returned from his early injury in the season. 10 assists and 2 goals to his name. He's done all right, but I feel like he's on the decline, and these little orange arrows are kind of telling me that he's definitely on the decline. Some people who are kind of on the up, I guess. Carney Chukwuemeka, now 28 years of age, is actually our 5th top scorer of the season, getting only 6 goals, 4 assists as well. But I think he's just really good. He's just really consistent. 144 games for us, 25 league goals as well. I'm liking the fact that we got Carney Chukwuemeka in from Chelsea on a free in the Championship, and he's basically just stuck around for 4 years. I'm thinking he's going to leave at some point very soon, but right now, let's just enjoy him while we've got him. Somebody else we need to try and enjoy is Franco Vieira, the 20-year-old Uruguayan centre-back, has finished with 6 league goals and 1 assist to his name. He is our 4th top scorer. Technically, Chukwuemeka and Vieira, joint 4th top scorers for our team. As a centre-back at 20, that's ridiculous. He's now classed as a Wonderkid. He's worth potentially up to £85 million. I want to make sure Vieira plays every single game, I think. We might need to lock him in next year. Ross Smith almost hits 20 goals. He actually finishes on 19 goals for the season, 6 in the 6 assists as well in all competitions, so technically just in the league. He's done all right. He's okay. He's not the one that I want scoring the goals, to be honest. The fact that he's got 19 with 10 finishing, that's pretty good, right? Jamie Horgan, however, also has 19 and 4 assists, and he's got 18 finishing. His finishing, I think, has gone up from 17, which is what it was at the start of the season. Now 23 years of age, Horgan is our 2nd top goal scorer for the team. He's just good, isn't he? He's just a good footballer. But by far and away, our most useful footballer that we've got, and I never thought this would actually happen, Rayan Cherki, who we signed on a free transfer from, I'm going to say Newcastle, I think it was Newcastle, wasn't it? Has managed to get 19 assists and 20 goals in all competitions from attacking midfield. He is wanted by Juve and Al Ahly in Saudi Arabia. I'm thinking Cherki might be off. I think he might be leaving in the summer. But the fact that we've got 3 double-figure seasons from goals, 19 assists last season, he's certainly helped fire us into the Champions League. And then we might make, I don't know, let's say £60 million off him as well. That's just good business, right? That's just sensible business. So we finished Season 4 then in 5th place, and Season 5 will begin with a little trip to Europe, which is something I didn't think would happen, particularly this earlier on in this Crystal Palace save, but there we are, we're in the Champions League for Season 5. It is quite weird to see, on the 1st of July, we have got 4 competitions, and one of them is the Champions League, but here we are. In 5 days' time, apparently, it begins, but we do not enter until the 30th of August when the league phase begins, which means we won't see it until the end of the transfer window. Speaking of transfer windows, let's see what we've done already. We've spent £10 million on a 19-year-old goalkeeper from Lincoln. It might seem excessive, but we needed English players. I'm trying to get quite a few English players in this Palace team, and £10 million, while seems quite steep, he's good. He's a very good goalkeeper. He's been playing consistently for the last 2 seasons down in the Championship. So we've kind of given him a little bump up. I'm not sure whether he's going to be playing week in, week out. He's only here as a backup for now, but we might lock him in. We might lock him in for our goalkeeper for the season, which could be a stupid thing to do in the Champions League. We've also sold Jamid, I'm not quite sure what his name is. He has gone to Sheffield United for £6 million. He was there on loan last season. Apparently must have been successful because they've decided to make it a permanent deal for £6 million, which is stupid. It's stupid money, but I will take it. And that means for the rest of the summer transfer window, we've got £53 million to spend. We are over our wage budget, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem right now. We can kind of do rejigging. We're certainly, almost certainly anyway, going to be selling some players. And I'm thinking Rayan Cherki might be one of them leaving. I'm not quite sure yet, but I have a feeling it's going to happen. It did. It's happened. He's gone to Barcelona for £45 million, or potentially rising to 45, 35.5 right now. Potentially an extra 10 million on top of that, which I'm happy with that. That's good money. He's 29. He's starting to get a bit older, on the decline. He's nearly 30. He's basically past it at this point. So to get that amount of money, that's some good business. Annoyingly, we did sell our number one goalkeeper, Nikola Vratovic, to Arsenal. He's gone for, I think, $20 million. There is a 50% sell-on in there. So if he moves on from Arsenal for a decent sum of money, he might get, well, I say we should get half of that coming to us. And it might have made a decision for us that Siddle from Lincoln might be our number one goalkeeper for the season. I did have a feeling this was going to happen. I was kind of hoping it wouldn't, though. So yeah, Siddle's going to be number one. He's just turned 20. He's fine. He's perfectly fine. We've got some players as well joining us. And we have spent a lot of money. Some of it might be too much money. Aldo, a 19-year-old Brazilian centre-back and full-back on either side, has joined from Grêmio for £14 million. It sounds quite steep, and it arguably is quite steep. For £19.5 million, we have signed Kenneth Drexel, a 19-year-old Danish centre-back, signed from Copenhagen. It sounds quite steep, but I think that one might actually be worth it. He's considered a Wonderkid. I nearly just didn't say any words there, did I? He's considered a Wonderkid already at 19 years of age. He's very, very good. In fact, I think he's probably one of our best players. So for just under £20 million, I'm okay with this business. And for £23 million, we have the Rayan Cherki replacement, and that is John Prins, a 23-year-old Dutch attacking midfielder signed from PSV. Spent, weirdly, some time out on loan at Plymouth, and then at Middlesbrough in the Championship, we brought him in for £23 million. It might be a bit on the steep side, but I think he's as good as Cherki, and he's half the price. And that is pretty much all of the transfer business. If we take a very brief look at the loan deals, so Egan Riley moving to Cardiff on a permanent deal. Jondro Chadwick's gone to Sunderland, and then a whole bunch of loan deals. Contreras for £1.5 million going on loan to Bayer. Ashley Phillips to Coventry. I don't want him, okay? I can't fit him into my team, and he's worth £40 million. I'm desperately trying to sell him, but nobody will buy him, so he's going to spend another season out on loan at Coventry. Dan Shepherd, like I said, at the start of Season 4 is a player that I really want to play, but he's not quite good enough yet. He's gone out on loan once again, this time to Derby. And a whole host of players going out on loan. I've been using the development list like an absolute fiend for this Crystal Palace side, which is why there are so many loan players going out, and we're kind of getting paid money for them. It's not a lot of money, but for some reason you stick someone on the development list, and they go on loans, and you kind of get some money back. So that's a little trick for you. It's probably not a trick. Everyone probably knows to do that already. Anyway, in the competitions that we are in, all four of the competitions, you can see the Champions League is there. We are right down the bottom because we've never been in Europe, apparently. So we've got very little coefficients, which is why we're down in 30th at the moment. In the Carabao Cup, we are through to the third round, I believe, after beating Lincoln. In the FA Cup, obviously not been drawn yet. And in the Premier League, we are currently up in 6th. And we have lost against Southampton, drawn with Hull, and a two wins against Middlesbrough and Fulham, scoring 8 goals in total in those, which is actually quite good. Up in 6th place at the moment, obviously 4 games in. Nobody really cares at this point. And from a squad perspective, this is what we are locking in. Yes, Sebastian Moller has moved place. I've moved him to defensive midfield now, because he's still got lots of people wanting him. That one kind of worried me. When Bayern Munich came in, they actually tried to sign him, and I was like, nope, you're not going anywhere. When they tried to do that, I went, we need to play you in your proper position. So Moller is playing there. Ruel Walters, I'm still keeping as our right back. This could be the last season Ruel Walters is our right back. On the left-hand side, we have Tristan Osem, who is now from Ukraine, by the way. I didn't realise he was part Ukrainian, but there we are. He was born in Germany, but he's eligible for Ukraine. He's got 4 caps for them, which is always good. Playing as our starting left-back. I think there's some potential here. He's 24. He might have missed the boat. And then David Siddle is our number 1. Yep, we're doing it. Siddle is our number one. So far, he has played 5 games for us in all competitions. He's kept 2 clean sheets. He's going to be playing in the Champions League. Last season, he was playing against Rotherham. I don't think he was playing against Rotherham unless they got relegated. Last season, he was playing against Millwall. Sure. So that is what we have done. We are now going to jump forward to the end of the season and see how well our little European adventure has done. Realistically, if we can get out of the group stages, I'm taking that as a win. Well, one thing that is not a win is the Premier League. We finished down in 11th place. I'm going to say Europe distracted us. Before knowing where we actually finished and how well we did in Europe, I'm going to say Europe distracted us. We've lost 14 times, but we did win 17. So actually, yes, we are down in 11th place. But if we look, we've got 58 points, which would have actually made us finish 8th last season. 58 the season before would have also been 9th place. So it's just been a slightly more tight league, I guess. I mean, 57 points, finished in 12th place, which was Liverpool, by the way. That's ridiculous. In the FA Cup, we did not win this one. We actually got knocked out in the 4th round against Newcastle, a 2-0 defeat there. In the Carabao Cup as well, we managed to fall at the 4th round, this time against Blackpool on penalties. That one's kind of embarrassing. In the Champions League, however, we finished 4th place in the table. We were the 2nd best team from England, Chelsea being the best, winning 6, beating Barcelona, beating Rangers, beating PAOK, beating Bayern, beating Everton, and beating Shakhtar. And some pretty convincing scores there as well. Losing against AC Milan and Juve. I will take that. To be honest, I will absolutely take that. Realistically, you'd have expected us to lose to Bayern and Barca in that one as well, wouldn't you? Which would have been probably more accurate. But the fact that we got through was pretty good. The problem is, in the round of 16, we do get knocked out immediately by Atletico Madrid, which is, it's not ideal, is it? It was a 1-1 draw at Selhurst Park, and then a 1-0 defeat away from home. But we've done all right. I think in the Champions League, we've done okay. It's just a shame in the league we didn't. And unfortunately, I feel like David Siddle is kind of, not necessarily to blame, but he only kept 6 clean sheets out of 34 league games. He kept 3 in the Champions League and conceded 54 goals. It's a lot of goals, mate. It's a lot of goals. Fully aware you're only 20, but I was hoping you'd be a little bit better than that. Ruel Walters is out of contract at the end of the season, and in what I'm going to say is his final season at Crystal Palace, he does finish with 16 assists in all competitions and 5 goals, but I think we are going to bite the bullet and maybe release Walters. We might let him go. We'll find out in a minute. New signing Johnny Prince was our 3rd top goal scorer, scoring 8 in all competitions and damaging his cruciate ligaments very, very early on in the season. When did he do that? Literally just after Christmas. So he's missed 6 months, 5 months of football, and he's still our 3rd top goal scorer. We conceded a lot and didn't score many. Horgan was our 2nd top goal scorer with 21 in all competitions, but 6 of them did come in the Champions League, 7 assists as well. But number 1 is Ross Smith with 31 goals, 9 in the Champions League, 20 in the Premier League, 2 in the Carabao Cup, 5 assists as well. We kind of missed Shirky, didn't we? We kind of missed Shirky this season. We do have a lot of players scoring goals, though. When you take a look at it, we've got Moller, Olsen, Diego, Klossi, Camacho, Vieira, Greenwood, Nedeljkovic, Drexel, Walters, Bello, Rice, Avia, Chukwuemeka, and Wamba also all scoring goals. So we are getting lots and lots of goals. The problem is, I don't think we're getting the kind of the service that we were getting last time around. Walters is the only one really putting in a decent shift. Avia getting 9 from midfield is not bad, is it? It's not bad at all. But ultimately, Season 5, I would say is kind of not a bust. It's certainly not a bust, but it's nowhere near as good as I was hoping it would be. Season 6, then, we have to try and push for Europe again. And I feel like we're not going to do it because I want to stick with Siddle in goal. And I don't think he's good enough for the Premier League right now. We're going to find out. Season 6, then, and we've just got 3 competitions to worry about now for Crystal Palace. But we have had one hell of a clear out in the summer. Over £80 million worth of players have left the club, and we've not brought in a huge amount just yet, so we might find ourselves in a very, very busy transfer window so far this season. Caden Klossi, one of those players leaving, going to Coventry for potentially £12.25 or £12.75 million. Jayden Magoma has also moved on, signing for Hull for just under £30 million. And Ashley Phillips has finally made his move to Coventry permanent after 2 seasons on loan for £43.5 £1.5 million. I don't know why they've paid that much money for him, but I don't care because we signed him on a free transfer and he wasn't playing for us. Coventry also signed a man called Benjamin Goodwin for £180,000. I don't know whether he's any good or not, but he's moved on. As has one of our many sub-goalkeepers, Owolabi, I think, the 23-year-old Nigerian came through our youth intake. He's moved to Ipswich on a free transfer. Chris Pearce has moved to Leeds United on a free transfer. No relation to me, by the way. And this one annoyed me. Alan Pipanic has moved to Dynamo in Croatia because I didn't realise he was out of contract. And by the time I realised, he'd already agreed to move to Dynamo on a free. I don't like the fact that this one's happened because I think he's going to be quite good. I might have lied when I said we haven't really done any business. We have done one piece of business. Dion Mane, 21-year-old Senegalese central defender signed from Millwall, I want to say, because I think he was on loan last season. He wasn't. We've signed him for £23.5 million. He's gone for nearly £42 million in the last two transfer windows, which is... yeah, fair enough. He's gone for a lot of money, but I think we've got ourselves a very good central defender, and at 21 years of age, still young, still plenty of future in him. We've also got a few players as well leaving on free transfers after their contracts have expired. Sam Greenwood being the main one, a player who basically just didn't really play for us too much. He came off the bench a lot in the Premier League, but just wasn't really there, was he, for us anymore. I did try and sell him. For the last 3 seasons, I've been desperately trying to sell him. People have been offering, I've been accepting, and he's gone, nah, don't want to do it. Don't want to go play for, I don't know, like Oxford, I think was one of the teams. They're in the Championship. It's not that bad. You might have noticed, however, Ruel Walters was not on that list of players who've been released. I've given him a contract extension. I don't know why, but I want to keep Walters around. He's played 140 league games for us. He's actually been quite good the last couple of years as well. So we are sticking with Ruel Walters. Whether he stays as our starting right back or not is yet to be seen. We're going to jump forward to the end of the summer transfer window where we, by the way, have £81.9 million to spend. I'm thinking we're going to spend most of it, maybe all of it, or maybe none of it. We've got just under £90 million left in our transfer budget on the 1st of September. But most of this is actually because we've sold some players as well as brought some players in. We've sold, I want to say, about £50 million worth of players. We've brought in about £50 million worth of players. Fabian Dingeland, a player who we signed in Season 4 on a free transfer. He's left. He's gone to Monaco. We just weren't playing him. Leo Shaha has gone to Sunderland for £5.75 million. Richard George has gone to Brentford for £6.75 million. Ruben Umar has moved over to Borussia Dortmund for £17.75 million. And he's not the most expensive. Brighton want him on loan. I'm tempted to loan him back, you know. For £16.75 million, Terence Benfield has left and moved to Everton, and he's transfer listed. Why has he transfer listed? They've only just signed him, and they've immediately transfer listed him. I don't understand. And finally, for just under £50 million, potentially £46.5 million, I think Carney Chukwuemeka has moved over to Barcelona. I did say earlier on in Season 4, I want to enjoy Chukwuemeka while we still have him because I think he's going to move on. And he has moved on, but he's made us a nice, tidy sum of money. 36.5 up front, 46.5 as a potential final value for a player who signed on a free. That's pretty good. Players joining the club then, we have signed Zidane, who is a 25-year-old Brazilian left-back from Flamengo in Brazil. He's cost £12 million. Apparently played for Fulham for a little bit. I don't really know why he went to Fulham, but there you are. He's probably our number 1 left-back. And replacing, I'm going to say Carney Chukwuemeka, is Nathan Hosker, 22 years of age, English attacking midfielder, signed from Norwich for a lot, £38.5 million. It's a steep sum of money, but I think Hosker, he's a good footballer, isn't he? He's a midfield orchestrator and he's only 22 years of age, so I think that's some good business. Other things going on, as always, lots of loan deals. Luciano Lopez going to Leicester, £2.6 million. Contreras to Middlesbrough. What else have we got? Golub going to Leeds again. I think that's like the 3rd time he's done that. Hamady Bass, by the way, he looks quite good. I just don't have a space for him in the team, so he just keeps getting loaned out season on season. Anyone else of interest? Eric Wamba to Southampton's going on loan. Rodri Davies is a player who I've had in my first team for about 3 years, and he just keeps getting loaned out because his value's really high, and I don't know why. So I'm thinking there's something there, but I'm not quite convinced what it is. Getting some game time currently in League 2 for Cheltenham. And the starting 11 that we are locking in is going to be Siddle, Moller and Hosker. So David Siddle, now 21 years old, getting better every single season, which is very good. We need him to kind of get better because his first season wasn't the best, was it? He is going to be our number one goalkeeper. We're going to keep Sebastian Moller as that defensive midfielder. I'm not sure if he's getting better or not. We did have a lot more interest again in Moller over the summer, but he seems to be okay. He's fairly happy. He does have slight concerns because I did fine him because he got sent off against Millwall. He's fine. He doesn't want to leave. That's the good thing. And then Hosker will be playing as that advanced midfielder just behind the two strikers, which realistically, if you look, it's going to be Horgan and Ross once again. So with the season kicking off, obviously, we've been knocked out of the Carabao Cup in the second round against Millwall, which is obviously the match as well, where Moller got himself sent off. In the Premier League, it's not a good start. We are down in 18th place, 2 defeats. We have lost against Southampton and Everton without scoring a goal. We have drawn with Aston Villa, a 1-1 draw. It's not the best start, but we are still only 3 games in. Southampton, my team that I support in real life, currently top of the Premier League. I don't think they're going to stay there. So as we don't have a European distraction this season, I'm hoping for a much better season, even though it started badly. Let's jump to the end of that season and see how well we've done. 8th place. I will take 8th place. 61 points. It's only 3 more than last season, but it is, 4 places higher or 3 places higher than last season where we finished 11th. So I'm happy with that. Southampton, who were top, have dropped all the way down to 11th place. So I told you it was not going to stick. Everton have been crowned champions of England. What has happened there? Everton are champions. Brighton have finished 5th in the Champions League. Anything else weird? Chelsea have almost been relegated. However, I say almost been relegated. They haven't, because Hull, Middlesbrough and Derby combined would have finished about 15th. That is just horrendous. That is absolutely appalling. So Hull and Middlesbrough combined have got, 38 points. So they'd still be relegated if those combined all of their points together. If you then add Derby on top of that, that is 50 something, 52 points? They'd be mid-table, just about. That is just shocking. That is so bad. In other competitions in the FA Cup, we did actually get knocked out by the eventual winners Liverpool in the quarterfinals, a 2-1 defeat at Anfield. But getting to the quarterfinals, it's pretty good. It's not too bad at all. And obviously, as we know in the Carabao Cup, we don't care for this competition. We got knocked out in the second round. Eventually, it was won by Newcastle. Now, it does look like finishing 8th place is not going to get us European football, which I'm kind of okay with. Tottenham managing to get themselves Champions League football. Did they win the Europa League? Is that what happened? They won the Europa League 7-1 in the final against Real Betis. Sure, fair enough. So, yeah, Tottenham in the Champions League. So, again, another 6 English teams in the Champions League. How have Everton won the Premier League, by the way? Like, how have they done this? This is surely... It's their first time for a long time. Definitely for a long time. From the players that we locked in then, David Siddle did much better this time around. Still conceded 50 though, which is arguably still quite high. But he kept 4 clean sheets. He didn't do much better. He didn't do much better at all. He just looks like he's done better because we've finished higher up on the table. I think what's actually happened is we've just scored more goals. Yeah, we have, and I feel like Nathan Hosker has kind of helped contribute to that. 14 assists, 13 goals in all competitions for him on his debut season. Ross Smith picking up 23 goals and 6 assists. And Jamie Horgan picking up 25 goals and 2 assists. So we've picked up a fair amount of goals now. We've got 3 players well into double figures, which is good. When you sort by assist, we've got Hosker, Nedeljkovic, who must have basically been our right back, because even though I gave him a new contract, Ruel Walters was not locked in as our number 1 right back. Nedeljkovic seemed to be taking that spot, and he got 13 assists. We've got Johnny Prinz. His name's not Johnny, it's just John, but I'm going to call him Johnny Prinz, getting 10 assists, 9 of them in the league. Tristan Awesome, who has decided he wants to be German once again, because I assume he feels like he's good enough to get in the Germany side. He's done alright, 6 assists in just 13 starts, or 14 starts. He is wanted by West Ham. I don't think we're going to do that one. And if we have a look here, Chris Jones-Williams, the Welsh goalkeeper, played 7 times because there must have been an injury to Siddle. So Jones played, and he didn't keep a clean sheet at all in any of the games he played. But he conceded a lot, didn't he? He conceded 14 and 7. That's 2 goals a game. Well, ultimately, Season 6 was okay. It certainly was not a success, but it was arguably more successful than Season 5, but not as successful as Season 4. We've got one more video to go in this Crystal Palace relegation rebuild where we have 4 seasons, 7, 8, 9 and 10. That is how numbers work. And we're going to do our final 4 seasons with Palace. And hopefully we can win something. That's all I want. I don't want to win the Premier League. I want to win the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup. Maybe the Europa League, Europa Conference League, I will take that as well. If we can do well enough in the Premier League to kind of have a title challenge, that'll be good. I feel like it's not going to happen though. We do have £95 million to spend, however, in Season 7. Maybe we go big.